has marketed it by basically...
It's not secular capitalism. It is not secular capitalism.
That's the first thing. The second thing...
You are being...
Sorry guys, could you keep it quiet? Sue, that includes you. Could you keep it down? Let her finish.
Okay.
From a wrong premise will
Sue, this is a debate. We have to respect each other and hear each other
very
out.
Briefly, because I agree with you, this is a big debate. The reality of capitalism,
yes.
The actual belief system of capitalism does not believe that religion should have a say in society. It believes that laws and legislation, should come from man, because that's the only way to fill the deep pockets of these capitalists. If religion had a say, then they would know that the pockets would be cut very, very shallow on that level. The second issue is, I think it's a very good question. Can you have freedom and equality together? No, you can't. Because if you want equality in terms of the equal worth of women within society, then you cannot have a society that promotes the idea that men can view women any way that they are free to. You cannot have a society that promotes pornography and devalues a woman on one hand, on the other hand, expect her to have respect and self-worth and be treated with respect by men on the other. Doesn't work like that. And I think this really shows the flaws of the whole secular liberal way of life. Let me take one other example. Look at teenage pregnancy. Teenage pregnancy is a problem in this society, and the age of consent is there. So on one hand they say, look, teenagers shouldn't have relationships, but on the other they promote the glamorization of teenage relationships through dramas, through movies, through entertainment, through a whole culture. Why? Because it sells. Teenage magazines sell, the dramas sell. So how can it be that you promote the culture that causes this problem and then you set legal limits to prevent it? It doesn't work like that. And the consequence is clear. In this country, over 58,000 girls under the age of 15 are taking contraceptive pills today. It doesn't work. So what we need to understand is that if you want respect, you need to create an environment that creates that respect, which is promote the idea that women's dignity cannot be defiled, but also have a system in place that brings this concept to life.
Thank you. And I'm going to be taking the last three questions. So anyone who hasn't spoken yet, that sister there had her hand up for a while.
I just wanted to ask you too, as your debate is for Islam, I think it's quite important that you haven't actually read the Quran, the actual source of Islam, not what the news and everything else is telling you, but the actual source, which is the Quran, right? And also I think in order to argue that Islam is oppressing women, the best thing to do is to actually go to women who are Muslim and ask them, are you oppressed? And if you ask me, I would say, no, I'm not oppressed. I'm actually quite free and liberated as in comparison to when I wasn't practicing Islam. And also I just wanted to ask you, why do you think women are becoming Muslim? The majority of people becoming Muslim are actually women. Why do you think that becoming women when they're actually oppressed as you would argue?
I've already
no,
said.
Sue, sorry. Alright, and the sister right at the back.
This is a comment on the question. And it's I find it very, very difficult to recognise myself when you were speaking during your talk. I find it difficult to recognise myself both as a religious believer and as a woman. And just to quote a few of the expressions that you were using, you said that we were childish, we were pets, we passed on their heads. And the assumption behind the belief that there are some people who are rational and enlightened and able to use their mind. The assumption is that as a religious believer, I am somehow unable to use my mind, somehow irrational. And you said this all under the banner of atheism. And I was wondering, that holding atheism kind of forth as a banner for moving forward, as something that kind of coheres members of society. But it doesn't, because it's segregation and it's putting up barriers. It is. Don't shake your head like that. It is. I can't say it's putting up barriers. It's not breaking people down.
Okay, thank you. And the last and final point.
What enlightened self-interest based on evidence, but by its nature you'll always lack evidence.
and you want to start with a correct premise. Well, I think the correct premise is a matriarchal system where the woman leads will inevitably be prejudiced and biased against men, and a patriarchal system, again, will be prejudiced and biased against women. So if man is legislating from his mind, it will lead to oppression inevitably. If woman is legislating from her mind, vice versa. I as a Muslim would refer to something other than man or woman to legislate my life and its affairs. What would a secularist, atheist, humanist like to refer to?
First of all, as to whether or not I have read the Quran. I probably know as much about the Quran as you know about the Bible, and it is the Bible on which this society is built. Sorry, but if you look at the facts, that is the case. As for the young lady at the back, I have never at any stage said that women are oppressed.
But then it's your... Why are you here?
You asked the question. You posed the question. I did not choose. I did not choose the question. I am simply putting my views. And what I did was gave you several examples from current events that demonstrate that there are a lot of very good examples that I can give to you that show that Muslim society is every bit as bad or good as other forms of this, ways of this society. And if you hate it so much, why do you not choose to live in a Muslim country? You're trying. Well, I have to say.
So if we could let her finish. Guys, can we keep it down?
I have to say, a lot of British people think that, and unfortunately, there is a lot of racism in Britain. Yes.
You answered my question. I asked you, why are women becoming Muslim if they're oppressed as you are?
It is a whole subject of the social and psychology of religion means that people will be attracted to it because of certain conditions. They will be afraid. If you make people insecure, they will gravitate towards some form of comfort, however fallacious.
Anything that I choose that does not fit with what you want me to, what you want me to think here, or the way you want me to act here, is oppression. But me, the Muslim woman here, the Muslim woman, not current affairs, not what someone's told you, not a poll that you conducted here. I'm telling you, as an educated woman, right, as a young woman as well, yeah, that's brought up in the Western world, I choose Islam, I'm liberated, yeah. So why would someone that doesn't know nothing about Islam here come to me and tell me that I'm oppressed?
The fact is, we disagree, and we are allowed.
I agree, and that's why if you don't...
No, you don't. You don't agree with me. Most people here don't agree with me. And I accept that.
All right. I don't think you two are going to ever see eye to eye. So could we just move on?
What I wanted to address for you was that you took examples from Muslim countries, not Islamic countries. Islam in itself is a perfect religion, but Muslim people make mistakes. Also, and the majority of us don't live in a Muslim country due to these so-called neoliberal interventions.
And this brother, you.
You keep on saying that religion is the cause of all the problems in society and crime, and you
patriarchal religion.
Yeah, and you keep on going back to the
keep on
going back to the definition of secularism, and okay, you can have different interpretations of the definition of secularism, but even as a secularist, you have to say that since the 60s, the influence religion has in society and also the amount it's followed has gone down. So surely there should be a decrease in crime. Why isn't there? Why has crime increased since religion's gone down?
Okay, thank you for that point. And last And final question, that sister there. Sorry, mate.
I wanted to make a brief comment on what you said, because you said that you came with small anecdotes of what happened in Muslim countries or what happened in England or maybe polygamy or anything. And I think this is not really clever to say that, because it is as if I would say that because 2% of the people of the church have raped children, I would say that all the Christians are pedophiles. You can't take 66% of Muslims and forget the 90% or 95% which are good citizens.
But you don't mind doing that.
Yes, you just said that 5 minutes.
You don't mind doing that about secularists, though.
Sorry?
You don't mind doing that about secularists.
No, it's just that
You're not comparing like with like, then, are you?
The point is, you came here thinking that, I think this is not really fair that you come without reading the Quran.
I didn't propose this debate, my dear. I didn't propose this debate.
Okay, all right. That will be the end of the questions. Sorry, guys. You can put your hands down now. I'll let you rest your hand.
I didn't.
But I will let Sue answer the. I think it was about 2 points.
Well, first of all, I didn't promote this event. You did. I don't have an army of secularists here facing what appears to be a lone secularist or a lone Islamist or whatever. What were the other questions?
It was that brother had a point, which was the influence of religion has gone down in society since the 60s, but the crime rates have gone up.
The numbers of people who actually go to church has gone down drastically, particularly in the Catholic Church and the C of E. But there isn't that big a decline in people who still vaguely believe, because in fact there is actually very little explanation. The vast majority of people in this country do not know what secularism is or secular, and if you don't know, they certainly don't know. Christianity is really part of the wallpaper. Our laws, our social policy are based on Christianity and their attitudes, and unfortunately until that changes and people take on board that they have got to take responsibility for actually thinking and using evidence and rationality and reason in addressing problems, then things will not change, and your position won't change any more than the position of white women, and particularly poor white women.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Why crime has increased while religion has gone down?
Okay.
Well, at least one of the reasons is because there has been a very significant increase in the population generally.
There's record prisons. They're building new prisons as well.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Sorry, guys, if we could keep it down at the back. There's a very last point.
The country that imprisons the most people in the Western world is the United States, and you can't get a much more religious country than that.
Okay, right. Okay, anyways, that's the end of the question, but I would like each speaker to conclude. They've got roughly 5 minutes, so I'll start